Murder Clinic, stories of the world's great detectives. Men Against Murder. Each week at this time, WOR Mutual turns the spotlight on one of the world's great detectives of fiction and invites you to listen to the story of his most exciting case. Tonight, Madame Rosika Story in The Scrap of Lace. Good evening, Madame Story. Your being at Murder Clinic is certainly a novelty.
You're surprised to see a woman detective, Mr. Knight?
That's right. And even more surprised to see a very beautiful detective. It's a queer business for a woman.
Most people think so, Mr. Knight. But you see, being a woman gives me one great advantage. My adversaries usually underestimate me.
Yes, I suppose they would. Now, what's the tale you're going to tell us, Madam Story?
It's called The Scrap of Lace. I chose it because it seems to me so unusual a crime. A strange story of jealousy and death. Of course, you know the great family of Kruger, who ruled New York society for generations. When Mrs. Peter John Kruger III died, her mantle descended as a matter of course to Mrs. Peter John Kruger IV. This beautiful and charming young woman, Mimi by name, inherited not only her mother-in-law's scepter, but also Teresa de Guion. Teresa de Guion was the first and certainly the greatest of social secretaries. The story begins one summer morning at Caris Woods, the enormous and rather monstrous Kruger estate in Upper Westchester. Mimi and Teresa de Guion were together in the breakfast room.
Oh, Teresa, must we go to that dull dinner at the Bransoms tonight? I think I'll call it off.
Mimi, you simply can't do that. The dinner's being given for you. I was most insistent that I be consulted about the other guests. After all, my dear, you have certain responsibilities. Your mother-in-law, Mrs. Kruger III...
Yes, I know. She was a paragon of the social virtues. She didn't mind being bored to death.
Oh, Mimi, you are so lax. What would you do without me?
You worry too much, Teresa. You're living in the past. Your little assistant, Louise Mayfield, could possibly take over very well.
Louise? Louise Mayfield? That child.
My dear Teresa, she's 21 and very competent. After all, you trained her.
Yes, and I am very fond of Louise. She's like a daughter to me. But take my place? Why, surely you're joking, my dear.
Oh, yes, of course.
You know, Mimi, I'm a bit worried about Louise. She's been acting very odd lately. This party she's going to tonight, I have no idea where it is or who her hostess is to be.
Well, wherever it is, she'll have a better time than I will. You know, Teresa, I shouldn't be surprised if Louise has been acting strangely because she's trying to keep away from my handsome cousin, Jack Rowcliffe. She doesn't seem very grateful to you, Teresa, for arranging to marry him off to Vera McPeak.
Jack Rowcliffe and Vera McPeak are a splendid match. He has family, position. Vera is young. She can be molded. She can be taught.
Oh, certainly, yes. And her father has 100 millions. But I don't blame Jack for straying from the fold. Louise is very lovely, and I find Vera a very trying guest. In fact, I find it all very trying.
Mr. Guion?
Oh, there's Louise. Louise, we're in the breakfast room. Come in here, my dear.
Good morning, Mrs. Kruger. Mrs. de Guion, did you want me this morning?
No, Louise, I did. Teresa insists we go to this dinner tonight. Jack and Vera are going with us. We'll be leaving around 7. Tell Jack, won't you?
Must I, Mrs. Kruger?
Mrs. Kruger has asked you to deliver a message. Do so, my dear.
Jack, I came only to tell you about the dinner.
Oh, Louise.
Please, must we go through all this again? Why don't you leave me alone?
Because I'm mad about you, Louise. Can't you understand? I'm in love with you. I want you to marry me.
You marry and support a wife? Don't be silly, Jack.
It does sound silly, doesn't it? But I'm changed, I tell you. You changed me, Louise. I love you. There's nothing I wouldn't do for you.
And what about Vera McPeak?
Oh.
No, Jack. I'm afraid you've been bought, paid for, and delivered. Vera won't let you go so easily.
I'll tell her tonight that I'm through, Louise. I'll meet her at the dinner and tell her, and then I'll come back here to you.
Come back if you like, Jack.
Good. I'll be back at about...
But I won't be here.
Where are you going, Louise? Well, why don't you tell me? It's another man. I know it's another man. Who is it? Who is it?
This nonsense has gone far enough. What I do is my own business. Do you understand that, Jack?
No, it's my business. You're mine, Louise. Do you hear? You're mine. I'll have you or no one else will.
Jack, let go of my wrist.
Louise, tell me.
You're hurting me, please.
Louise, I want to know.
Let me go.
Well, Jack.
Vera.
Still making passes at the servants, I see.
Perhaps it's just as well you saw. You might as well have this out now.
Shut up. I can handle this. It's pretty easy to see what Miss Mayfield's little game is. She thinks she'll marry into the great Kruger clan. Well, let me tell you, Miss Mayfield, Jack hasn't got a cent to his name and never will have.
Vera, please.
I understand perfectly, Miss McPeak. I assure you I have no ambitions in Mr. Oakley's direction.
Quite the lady, aren't you, Miss Mayfield? Well, watch your step. Sure, I know what you all think of me. Vulgar, common. But let me tell you, we common clay McPeaks from Pittsburgh know how to get what we want. And we know how to keep it. Think that over, Miss Mayfield. Think that over.
Yes, come in.
Mademoiselle, Miss Louise. Madame Kruger has sent me to help you dress for your engagement.
Oh, come in, look. How thoughtful of Mrs. Kruger to send you, Suzanne. Have they gone?
But oui, the car she left long ago. Oh, monsieur, they were not happy. Monsieur Jacques, he say nothing. And Mademoiselle, his fiancée, the ugly one, she... Oh, you say, she very angry. Even Madame, she want not to go.
Well, let's not think of them, Suzanne. I'm happy, and I'm going to have a wonderful time.
Oh, Mademoiselle is très charmante. Very lovely. It is a tryst you go to, n'est-ce pas? It is for your young man that your eyes shine so.
Maybe. You're too smart, Suzanne. But how do you think my young man will like me? How do I look?
Oh, ravissant, Mademoiselle. You'll eat you up. You are so lovely.
Suzanne, you are a darling.
Yes? Who is it?
A letter from Miss Mayfield.
Oh, thank you. It is a letter for you, Mademoiselle.
For me? Well, it's a thick one, isn't it? Oh, how lovely. What an exquisite handkerchief. Why, who could have sent it to me?
Madame Kruger must have sent it. It is one of the 6 she bought in Paris. It is perfect, Mademoiselle, for your costume, n'est-ce pas?
Oh, it's lovely. What a darling Mrs. Kruger is.
Oui, she is most generous. You'll carry this, no?
Of course.
Shall I put the perfume on it, mademoiselle?
No, thank you. I'll do it myself, Suzanne. Oh, just put that bottle of gardenia perfume on my dressing table, please.
Oui, mademoiselle.
Now you can go, Suzanne. I won't need you anymore.
Merci, mademoiselle. Bonne voyage, mademoiselle.
Good night, Suzanne, and thank you. Oh, it's so lovely. One more drop. Suzanne. Suzanne. Help. Suzanne. Help. John.
My years of experience, Mimi, I have never had to cope with anything so sordid.
Teresa, how can you think of appearances with Louise, that beautiful child, lying in there dead?
But I must think of them. After all, Dr. Plummer refuses to sign a death certificate.
That old fossil with his hints of foul play.
Well, maybe he's right, Vera.
What do you mean, Jack? What do you know of Louise Mayfield's death?
Well,
Stop wrangling, you two. Dr. Plummer was kind enough to give us 36 hours. He's risking a great deal going as far as that. Oh, why doesn't Madame Story get here? Are you sure you acted wisely in calling her in, Mimi?
Well, it was either she or the police. You said she had a reputation for discretion. Come in. Yes?
Madame Rosika Story and Miss Bella Brickley.
Thank heaven you're here, Madame Story. This is a terrible situation, terrible. Oh, but let me introduce you. I am Teresa de Guillaume. This is Mrs. Peter John Kruger III.
How do you do?
Miss McPeak.
Hello.
Miss McPeak. Mr. Rocliffe.
How do you
How
do,
do you
Mr.
do?
Rocliffe?
It was good of you to come so quickly, Madame Story. This unfortunate accident is likely to create a distressing scandal for Mrs. Kruger.
Accident, Mr. Guion? From what you told me over the phone, I gathered Louise Mayfield had been murdered.
Nonsense. We don't know that, Madame Story. Nobody does. We only know Louise is dead. Poor child. We found her when we returned last night from our dinner party.
It isn't nonsense, Teresa, and you know it. Madame Story is perfectly right. It'd be very foolish to ask her help and not give her all the facts.
What facts, Mimi? Just because that old fossil of a Dr. Plummer won't give a death certificate. If you ask me, it's a nice little scheme to get you to hire this Story woman and split whatever she can manage to get out of you.
Vera!
That's an interesting idea, Miss McPeak, though I must confess that so simple and clever a scheme would never have occurred to me. But surely Dr. Plummer offered some other reason for refusing a death certificate.
Yes. He says... Oh, it's impossible, but... He says Louise was asphyxiated.
Old fool, there isn't a gas outlet in the house.
How helpful of you to know that, Miss McPeak. You won't mind, will you, if I check for myself?
I don't mind what you do.
Oh, what's the use of all this? We've nothing to tell. All of us were at a dinner party 20 miles from here together. When we got home after 11, we found Louise, well, that is Miss Mayfield, dead.
I see. Mr. Guion, when you phoned me, you said something about some missing object.
Yes. Suzanne, the maid, insists a lace handkerchief came in the mail for Louise as she was dressing to leave. When we found her, the handkerchief had disappeared.
Very interesting. Suppose I start, then, by questioning this maid, Suzanne. Maybe she can tell me more about this missing handkerchief. Good morning, Bella.
Good morning, Madam Story.
Typing last night's notes, I see.
Yes. Say, you look worried. What is it?
Oh, how can one look out at that peaceful garden and realize that in this house there's someone carrying the mark of Cain on their soul?
Then you believe Louise Mayfield's death was not a natural one, that she was murdered?
No doubt of it. Bella, that girl was asphyxiated.
Oh, how horrible. So young and so full of life.
Yes, isn't it? And it's our job to find out who killed her. Have you finished typing those notes you took at our interminable interviews last night?
Not quite. I'm almost finished.
Well, then I think I'll step out on the terrace. Maybe the fresh air will help me think.
Something is bothering you.
Yes, Bella. What happened to that lace handkerchief Louise Mayfield received in the mail? I'm sure that was the thing that killed her. I must find it. Will you call me when you're through with those notes, please?
Madam Story, you come out and shame the flowers and dim the sunlight.
Do you always make such pretty speeches, even so early in the morning, Mr. Rocliffe?
Ah, beautiful lady, you remember my name.
Yours would be a difficult name to forget, Mr. Rocliffe. Thanks to the Rotary Review and the picture magazine.
Oh, that. You know, I had no hope of ever meeting you. I can't aspire to your circle. Much too clever.
It all depends. I should say that you were quite clever enough for your own purposes, Mr. Rocliffe.
I'm just a lightweight.
I wonder. I see you're standing out under her window. That is Miss Mayfield's room up there, isn't it?
Yes. Well, that was her room.
Ivy-clad walls, old English ivy. Sturdy and strong, too. I wonder why the vines are so torn and broken.
Oh, are they? I hadn't noticed.
You loved Louise Mayfield very much, didn't you?
Yes. I loved her more than anything in life.
And she?
Oh, why should she care for me? What am I? Nothing but a wastrel. She was in love with someone else.